A very good evening, and here is wishing everyone a very happy new year. This year has started with the most wonderful news. Our friend, colleague, and proud to say that my mentor and regional head of IPNet West, that is Ravindra Chaturvedi sir, has been appointed as technical member at NCLT. Starting with this positive note, today's webinar is titled The Role and Services of IPAs for Insolvency Professional, which is the first session of IPNet West this year 2025. I request people to please keep yourselves on mute. Thank you. We are in the august presence of our keynote speaker, Mr. Rahul Madan, who's the MD of IIPI ICEI, who would enlighten us with the keynote address today, Ensuring Regulatory Compliance. This is Western Region's fifth webinar in the series of webinars of IPNet West, with IPNet, which is the National Network of Insolvency Professionals. And today we have the opportunity to have with us our very own IPA, IIPI ICEI, who will be sharing with us the role and services of IPAs for insolvency professionals, with the lead speaker, Ms. Leena Agarwal, who's the Deputy Director of Monitoring and Inspection. Moving forward, please allow me to invite our President, IPNet, Dr. Ashish Makhija, sir, to say a few words for the formal welcome address.
Thank you, Namrata. I think it has been a great moment for all of us, friends. And on behalf of IPNet, it is my extreme privilege to extend a warm welcome to all our participants who have joined us for this very, very important webinar. And we are thrilled to have such an diverse audience of insolvency professionals, which actually reflect the shared commitment to strengthen our profession. This is the purpose for which the IPNet was born. And I'm so happy to inform you that within a period of almost 4 months, we have grown from strength to strength. And we have continued every week one webinar, fixed time, every Saturday, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. And I'm so delighted that the participation has been huge in all the webinars. Now, friends, before we begin, as Namrata also mentioned, well, let me make that special announcement also. Well, I'm extremely delighted to inform you and share an important announcement, friends, that Mr. Ravindra Chaturvedi, who was the regional head of IPNet West, he has been elevated to the esteemed position of being an NCLT technical member. This is a very, very proud moment for all of us at IPNet, and of course, for me personally. And as you see, we are all aware that he has been very particular about holding the programs. And he has been a speaker in our webinar just 4 weeks ago. So if you can look at the you see videos if you wish to. Well, his elevation to be a member is a testament of his exceptional dedication, solid grounding, and expertise in the field of IPs. We always wanted that IPs should also become NCLT members, and this is the occasion we were all waiting for. Friends, let us join hands in congratulating him on this well-deserved achievement. I think everyone can maybe applause or maybe you see put that you see applause symbol. I think that's a very, very proud moment for all of us. Fantastic. Thank you, friends. Thank you. Friends, may I request everyone to please open videos. I think we can see each other. We can interact in a better fashion. And I think it's always better. In fact, I was just seeing that Mr. Chaturvedi is also present. He's traveling to Shirdi. I don't know whether he'll be able to speak to us or not, but definitely his presence is also making us very, very
Sir,
proud.
thank you so much for your kind words, sir. But unfortunately, I'm mid of the traffic and there's a lot of noise.
Right.
I'm really grateful for your kind wishes and kind word. And thank you, IPNet, for giving me opportunity time and again to associate with IP fraternities. And I will always be work in the best interest of insolvency profession. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. I think
Thank
your
you.
commitment and these words are very good enough for all of us. So, friends, now
Thank you, sir.
thank you. So now, friends, let us welcome our distinguished speakers today. Well, this time the tables have turned. Otherwise, Leena used to introduce me, Rahul Madanji used to introduce me. Now the tables have turned for me. But I'm so delighted about it. Now it is my honor to welcome the keynote speaker for today's webinar, Mr. Rahul Madan, who is the Managing Director of IIPI ICI, Well, friends, all of us are aware Mr. Rahul Madan is a chartered accountant, is also an insolvency professional. And friends, let me share with you, he's established himself as a leader who has been instrumental in shaping and contributing towards the insolvency professional ecosystem in India. And we are always privileged to have him. And I think all of us are looking forward to his insight as he addresses on typically talking about the role of the IPAs and also the compliances, how important they are for the IPs. Well, I also take great pleasure and in welcoming the lead speaker, Ms. Leena Agarwal. She is the Deputy Director, Monitoring and Inspection at Triple IPI ICI. Well, Ms. Agarwal's expertise in regulatory framework and compliances will definitely provide us the invaluable clarity on the functioning and the support which is offered by the insolvency professional agencies, particularly Triple IPI ICI, to all the insolvency professionals. Well, friends, at IPNet, we always believe that let us foster a meaningful dialogue to bridge gaps within the insolvency system. Today's webinar or session typically exemplifies our effort to bridge the gap between the IPs and the IPAs, ensuring that the insolvency professionals gain a comprehensive understanding of the critical role which is played by the IPAs. IPAs are not only the service provider, but also the regulator. Understanding the functioning of IPAs is typically essential for all IPs to perform their roles effectively, while of course ensuring compliances and maintaining professional standards. Well, Mr. Madan and Ms. Agarwal will be broadly addressing, my dear friends, your concerns and issues during this session. But if my only request is, A, please open your videos, and two, for your specific or case-specific questions, I think I will encourage you to reach them out independently after the session. Your broad and general queries definitely will be answered. Whatever queries you raised, I think that was also forwarded to them. Probably they will also be covering those. Once again, I thank our distinguished speakers, Rahul Madanji and Leena Agarwalji, for joining us today and sparing a valuable time and expertise. I also thank all the participants for their continued enthusiasm and engagement with the IPNet initiatives. Friends, together, we are building a stronger and a more informed insolvency professional community. Well, friends, now, without any further time, let's commence the webinar. I will request Namrata to please have the introduction video of IPNet and also the website, and then we will move ahead with introduction of the speakers and their addresses. Thank you.
In the fast-evolving world of insolvency and bankruptcy, professionals need more than just knowledge. They need a strong network, continuous support, and a unified voice. As the challenges of the insolvency profession grow, so does the need for a platform where professionals can come together, share their experiences, and find collective solutions. That's why IPNet was formed. Promoted by Transition, IPNet is more than just a network. It's a mission to unite insolvency professionals across India, empowering them with the tools, knowledge, strong leadership, and community support they need to excel. Our purpose is simple: to create a cohesive community of insolvency professionals that stands strong together, advocates for their interests, and drives excellence in every aspect of the profession. At IPNet, we believe in continuous learning and collaboration. Our activities are designed to ensure that every member stays ahead in their field, from specialized study groups that dive deep into critical topics like CIRP, compliances, and many more, to webinars and workshops that bring the latest insights right to your screen. IPNet is your gateway to professional growth. Backed by Transition, a leader in insolvency training and resources, IPNet is committed to promoting the interests of insolvency professionals. Our goal is to ensure that every IP, no matter where they are, has access to the best resources, strong leadership, and a network that truly understands their needs. Join us in this mission to build a stronger, smarter, and more connected community of insolvency professionals. Together, we can overcome challenges, shape the future of the profession, and make a lasting impact. IPNet, National Network for Insolvency Professionals in India.
With this, I would now request IP Sumit Dadda to introduce our keynote speaker, Mr. Rahul Madan, sir. Mr. Sumit.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Mr. Rahul Madan. Mr. Rahul Madan is a managing director of IPAs. Rahul Madan is a qualified chartered accountant, cost and management accountant, and an insolvency professional. He has an overall professional experience of over 25 years across corporate banking, relationship management, credit and risk management, investment banking, debt advisory, structured finance, and institutional wealth management, having worked at State Bank of India, Kotak Mahindra Bank, and ICICI Bank. With such a vast experience and knowledge, I like to invite Rahul Madan sir to give his keynote address on ensuring regulatory compliance. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Makija and the team at IPNet. I hope I am audible enough. Can you please confirm?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, great. And I'm also delighted and thanks Mr. Makija, who himself has been a torchbearer, I would say, in terms of knowledge and the capacity building of the ecosystem. We have been taking his support and help for our programs, Triple IPA capacity building, CP programs, EDP executive development programs in many ways. And thank you again. And it's heartening to note the IPNet coming as a resource center more than anything else for knowledge sharing, as well as the capacity building, as well as best practices or experience sharing among the fellow professionals. Congratulations to the team. And I'll also like to extend a hearty congratulations to Mr. Chaturvedi. I think he has been since appointed very recently as a technical member at NCLT, and I think he is there in the group. Congratulations to him. Let me also share news that another IP member of Triple IPI is also in that list, which has been released a couple of days ago, and Ms. Rekha Shah out of Mumbai, Rekha Kantilal Shah. I think other than her, in the past, one of the other Triple IPI member, Mr. Samir Kakkar, has also been nominated as a member. I think he served in Mumbai and currently is in Chennai. And along with them, another IP who is not our Triple IPS member, but an IP nevertheless. I think Nilesh Sharma ji has also been designated as a judicial member for a change, not as a technical, but judicial member in this current list that has been released. So interesting development for the community and for fraternity. And now coming to the today's session. So I've been assigned a role to share a role, scope, focus, and some of the future outlook for the profession as far as Triple IPA is concerned. So how we will divide our address and the presentation following that I'll like to cover macro aspects of role, scope, focus, and some of the concerns area that we perceive as a IPA, and also some of the futuristic outlook on the insolvency ecosystem and the profession particularly, and followed by that would be a presentation by my team in Triple IPA, Deputy Director Leena, would then be covering a bit of a micro matters in respect of the regulatory compliances and expectations of Triple IPA in terms of the common issues that we or gaps that we come across in terms of day-to-day compliances, as well as IBBI compliance, because we also act as a front office or front running organization or the front line regulator for the IBBI compliances as well. So that part later. So let me quickly come around and structure my around 15 to 20 minutes from now, a role, scope, and focus, followed by issues or concern area, and then futuristic outlook. Okay, let me start by highlighting the role or the scope of IIPA as the largest frontline regulator under the IBC scheme of affairs, and as a Section 8 not-for-profit organization promoted by ICAI. IIPA came into being in initially, like when law was enacted 2016 November, and in the fourth line of parliamentary delegation of the power, IIPA role has been carved out, starting from the Parliament, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, IBBI, and then at the end, frontline regulatory role of IPA. So there are three, and we among the largest, having the membership of about 63% of the insolvency professional in India, and who by and large manage three-fourth, I would say 75% of the insolvency services or insolvency resolution, CRPs or liquidation overall, in number as well as the value. Let me quickly, just to summarize, who are possibly a bit unaware of this IPA's role, let me highlight one interesting development come notification that has been pronounced by none other than, yeah, maybe some video could be or audio could be unmuted. Muted, please. Recently, there was a parliamentary standing committee a report that was shared way back in 22, and then in Feb 24, in that first report, the Parliamentary Standing Committee did point out, or they really questioned the formation of IPAs as two-tier regulatory framework, or having the multiple IPAs rather than one for this profession. And later on, I think in 23, Ministry of Corporate Affairs presented their views to the Parliament Committee on this matter. And then latest in Feb 24, the Parliament Standing Committee on Finance did acknowledge that views of the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and they noted in their report, 3-4 lines, let me read out, and I quote, the committee note, the committee here is the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Finance. The committee notes that the two-tier regulatory structure for the development of insolvency professionals was framed on the recommendation of the BLRC, the Bankruptcy Law Reform Committee, and the BLRC believed that such a model would enable the regulator to create a competitive market for IP agencies under it, unlike the current structure of professional agencies. Here, the current structure means chartered accountant body, company secretary, or cost accountant body. Again, I'm repeating, unlike the current structure of professional agencies, which have a legal monopoly over their respective domains. So hence, the spirit of competition introduced in this ecosystem of insolvency, which is possibly unlike any other territory in the world. So two-tier. So the parallel can be drawn from SEBI and the stock exchanges, where SEBI being the principal regulator, and here in insolvency ecosystem, IBBI is the principal regulator, followed by stock exchange in the capital market and IPAs here in IBC. So in future, as far as we are privy to many such dialogues or deliberations, the future, the roles of IPAs are set to be enlarged. So IBBI gradually taking some confidence in the near future as well as the remote future, gradually will pass on their primary responsibility in terms of the profession or the ecosystem around the profession more and more to the IPAs, which has already started what we have seen recently. And the role centers around standard setter, the IPA I'm talking about, the quasi-legislative, quasi-judicial, and the executive function. So We understand that there are grievance management structure, disciplinary mechanism, which are of the nature of the quasi-judicial function. In the executive line of activity, we monitor the operations or monitor the performance, the way the services are rendered by our professional members. And more than anything else, our key focus is on the capacity building, which is more of a preventive and the proactive role that we like to play, so that there are reasons not to be moved against any professional misconduct. So preventive and the proactiveness in terms of the upfront capacity building is the key focus. Personally, I can share on the lighter vein. In my role as head of this regulatory body, my 75% of the time is spent or energies are spent towards capacity building initiative, be it research programs, than anything else, which is including all other functions, be it grievance management or disciplinary mechanism. Okay, that is so. We will at the end we will have a Q&A session. I'll take questions, but let me quickly finish on the roles and then some of the capacity building initiatives that we have recently taken and will continue to take in the future, which is primarily around the CPE program, executive development program, contemporary, I would say, the capacity building or best practices document, as well as studies that we have conducted. So over 20 studies so far have been closed and released in terms of publications or the reports which are available on our website. And I'll just like to highlight a couple of them so that the audience has some better grip of it. Of late or very recently, we have worked and released on the guidance on the common issues that we come across. So some of which will be covered in the presentation following this session. So very important document. Another one is template on the avoidance transaction, because that is a gap that we have found so far. So how to form an opinion and submit to AA is one of the important document. Another one is the real estate resolution, improving coordination with RERA is another one. Role of IPs across value chain, entire value chain of stress management is another. And then there are best practices on individual insolvency, PG2CD, PPRP, or the group insolvency. And thanks to Mr. Makija, and a lot of his efforts were involved in creating two documents that we recently presented to Ministry and the IBBI. One is on the IBC amendment in the future. Hopefully, next Parliament session may take that up, and that has been really appreciated by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs besides the IBBI. And that includes, other than IBC amendment, a regulatory framework improvement therein in terms of IP and IPEs functioning. So that report has also been acknowledged by IBBI, and work has already started in terms of creating more and more enabling provisions. And let me quickly point out a peer review mechanism is again first of its kind ever done in the insolvency ecosystem world over. Then peer review is not there in any of the territories internationally in the insolvency profession, but we then 2-3 years ago we started off, and it is taking roots and quite well in terms of the output so far we have seen. Mentorship is another key initiative whereby the new entrants, especially upon getting the first assignment, will get allocated a mentor, which is experienced professional through a portal that we have introduced. Our discussion forum is another one which is there, but we have seen there are a lot to be done on that regard. I think we are trying to spread the word, but discussion forum like Cora or any other public forum, but that is between the members of the IIPI. Any professional issues or queries could be raised and then responded upon. So please use that if you are not aware of that. Okay, let me now quickly highlight concerns that we as a IPA uh, keep in our mind and are seized of the same, and keep working towards resolving most of them. But we really depend on the professional community like you all present here to also focus and create a improvement therein. So let me highlight some of these. The first concern that comes to our mind is delays in the processes. We all are aware, primarily on account of the judicial infrastructure or judicial litigation, frivolous litigation. And as we all understand, time lost is the value lost. So how we can resolve, a lot of effort is going in that direction, not only at our level, but even IBBI and ministry that we are in touch with are working day and night to alleviate some of these pain areas. So that is one. Ethical conduct of the stakeholders, which it of course include IPs, the professionals, but other than professionals, say RAs or even COC members, I think the ethical and this issue, let me informally or formally share in this August gathering that this issue is also quite alive in the minds of the policymakers. So we are worried. We means I am talking on behalf of regulators, be it IBBI or ministry. So we are really worried about this ecosystem getting a kind of a negative publicity on account of these issues. And of course, the other issues or concerns I can highlight as the procedural lapses. At times, these are minor, but unless resolved properly or disclosed properly, that leads to unnecessarily drawn litigation or disciplinary action. Some of these issues we will really highlight in the presentation that will follow now. Another thing is avoidance transaction outcome. The quality of reporting certainly needs to be improved. Until that is done, the decision at the NCLT level will not come through in a proper fashion. So that is one area. Upgradation of the know-how or the capacity of the professional is really fulcrum of everything that we do here in ecosystem. So lot depends on the active interest and the sincerity of the IPs. Sorry. Here I like to quote another para from the same standing committee, the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Finance, on this matter, particularly the capacity, etc., in respect to the profession. So there are about 7-8 lines. So let me quote: given the complexity of the resolution process and the number of penalties on the RPs, the committee means the standing committee continues to be apprehensive of the capabilities of the RPs in carrying out time-bound resolution of huge companies with complex cases, and believe that there is a need to revisit the rules regarding functioning of the RPs. Most penalties carried out by IBBI against RPs reveal misinformation and unawareness of the CRP process by RPs. It continues to say, the IBBI, in its role as principal regulator, continues to tweak the norms for functioning of RPs, including fixing a fee structure with performance-linked incentives and enabling IPEs to function as a juristic RP. Hence, the committee hope that these amendments would augment the performance of RPs in cutting delays in the processes and preventing value erosion of the stressed assets. So I think that summarizes what I was trying to say. Nothing more to add. Quickly, before we conclude my address here, the future outlook I was mentioning. The future outlook of the ecosystem and the professional interest, few things to highlight here. First, top of mind recall comes around the integrated software to manage various channels, various facets of ecosystem. So Ministry of Corporate Affairs, thanks to a lot of effort, including IIPA providing a lot of practical inputs on what to be done, how to be done. IBBI has already drawn a roadmap as well as design, broader business design of IPA That software is called IPA in short, which is a full form, let me highlight, which is integrated platform for insolvency ecosystem. So this software has already gone beyond the drawing board stage. So MCA particularly has or in the process of allocating over 100 crore of rupees just to develop this software. And I think in near future we will see some developer getting allocated this work, and once it is done, it will be a game changer. That is the future, and it will alleviate a lot of pain points, or single source of truth could be established because of this software, among many other enabling provisions. So that is one. Secondly, we can anticipate group insolvency framework first, followed by cross-border insolvency little later. But certainly these are expected to be launched or announced sooner than later, followed by ultimately individual insolvency as a full-fledged mechanism. Of course, after these, I think individual insolvency will come little later, further late. So that is one. And the role of IP entities, IPEs are set to grow. So a lot of enabling provisions have been made, more will be made, and the predominant focus of the ecosystem gradually will move towards IPEs than individual IPs, especially on cases who or which have complex matters involved. So please be mindful of the same. Another thing is the mediation, which has already been mooted by IBBI. That will be a reality sooner. And another trend that we are seeing, keeping an eye on the future, is in respect of turnaround specialist, the need of the turnaround specialist as comprehensive service provider to the industry to be insolvency ready. So that skill development would be the need of the hour in future. Please be ready as well as be prepared and gear up for this kind of a role. That will be important because that is what international ecosystem is seeing or has already seen. Lastly, ecosystem for litigation funding, asset tracing. So these kind of activities after the cross-border particularly ecosystem will be developed. So that is another one. In terms of triple IPAs preparation for the future, 2-3 quick points and then I'll end. That is about workflow automation. So a lot of automation is already there, but to increase our efficiencies, triple IPA is working, has already begun the work on key activities getting automated, workflow in respect of inspection, workflow in respect of grievance redressal, and the disciplinary mechanism. So portals are getting developed. That is one. CPE bulk processing. As of now, there's a pain point. One-to-one application is creating a lot of heartburns, a lot of delays. We appreciate that the needs to be resolved, and then hence CPE bulk processing, like for example, Chartered Accountant Institute is managing the CPE automatic processing. So that work has already been completed. So happy to announce the same, except that it is yet to be rolled out because we are waiting for other IPAs, other two IPAs to be ready so that IBBI can allow us to manage it on our own. As of now, IBBI portal is being used, which is one-to-one application. Okay, before I end, I'll just last view that I forgot to touch upon earlier. Sometimes we get a feedback that triple IPI is being harsh, being tough, getting into overregulation. So I like to highlight that our role is defined and we try to do justice, and our role is more of a conscience keeper of the ecosystem, and we try and enthuse the confidence in the minds of the end user, say other stakeholders who are using services of our member, and hence we take pride in being strict. I won't say the word strict, but the word firm is more appropriate. So we take pride in being firm. Having said that, we try and pass benefit of doubt or benefit to the extent possible to our members, but certainly without compromising on the quality. And because of that, gradually we are already seeing not only IBBI but other stakeholders look up to us instead of other IPAs uh, to support our members more appropriately or more actively. And I'm just quoting an example that in UK, for example, among 7 or 8 IPAs, so there it is called IPBs, professional body, insolvency professional bodies. Why only one of the IPBs out of 7 or 8 and their members are commanding premium over others? So this is the reason. I think ICAEW is the one which commands, or its members command premium over all other IPBs and their members because of this seriousness that we bring to the table. So with that, I'll end here, and certainly future looks promising, more certain, and professionally more fulfilling. With that, thank you very much, Mr. Makija. I think anything you would like to add, I'll be happy before our team, Lena particularly, takes up the presentation on the compliances. Thank you very much.
I think thanks. I think you have been wonderful. I think let also Leena ji make a presentation since you will also be here. So any concerns, questions, I think you will be available for answering them. So thank you so much. Over to you.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, everyone.
Leena, just wait. I think she'll, Namrata
Sure,
will.
sir.
Leena ma'am, just give me a second. On behalf of all participants, I would like to once again thank our keynote speaker, Mr. Rahul Madan, for a wonderful keynote address on ensuring regulatory compliance. Truly appreciate that you've taken out time and shared your views. I would now like to request President Sir Ashish Makija sir to please present a memento to our keynote speaker, Mr. Rahul Madan. I'll just present it.
Okay, Mr. Madan, can you hear us? Yeah. So we'll request you
Thank
to
you.
accept this virtually. So we'll send you the hard copy.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you for the gestures. Thank you.
I would now like to request, with this wonderful beginning, we come to our session for the day titled The Role and Services of IPAs for Insolvency Professional by our lead speaker, Ms. Leena Agarwal, who is the Deputy Director, Monitoring and Inspection at IIPI ICI. And moderator for the session today is none other than IP Bharti Daga. I now request IP Rajesh Shah to kindly introduce our speaker for the day, Ms. Leena Agarwal.
C. Leena Agarwal, Deputy Director, Monitoring and Inspection, IIPI, ICAI. Ma'am is a qualified chartered accountant and an insolvency professional. She has been at the Anvil, delivering the sessions on common issues on monitoring, inspection, and peer review, and guiding IPs at IIPI, ICAI to meet the requisite compliances. Looking forward to our session today on the role and services of IPAs for insolvency professional. With this brief introduction, as we all look forward to this wonderful session, and hence I would like to call on Leena ma'am to kindly take over.
Thank you. Thank you for the warm introduction and good evening, everyone. I hope I am audible.
Leena, your voice is little low. I mean, we're
Is
able
it okay
to.
now?
Yeah, it is slightly better. Yes.
Yeah. So to start with, I will start from where Rahul sir ends, like the compliance part, and just to give you an overview that how the IPAs are working, particularly IIPI. So as far as monitoring is concerned, in monitoring, we try to broadly classify our activities in two categories. One is monitoring, which includes the AFA renewal and some part towards the scrutiny of the forms compliance which are being complied by the IPs. And also at times we scrutinize deeply the cost disclosures, etc., whatever being submitted by the IPs on the website of IIPI. And today, if we talk about the forms. So broadly, CIP forms, approximately 60,000 forms have been submitted by the IPs on the cases in process or concluded by them on IBBI website. And on Triple IPA website, approximately 40,000 forms in terms of relationship disclosure, in terms of fees and cost disclosures, have been submitted by IP so far. So I think with this extensive number of forms, one can understand that how the monitoring is so complicated, ticklish, and that's why so much of IPs, they have concerns that how triple IPI is working, and then they are little harsh or they are stricter in terms of compliance. So having said that, so many forms are there, still we are trying to do our job in a best possible manner, because we have a mandate that whatever compliance form, whatever inspections we are conducting, so we have to, consider, or we have to scrutinize them, keeping in mind the letter and spirit of the code. So with this, I think wherever we have these kind of sessions, so I generally start with the common issues, etc. But I think the more requirement is towards the rather the common issues, it is the requirement that how the compliance forms are required to be made, how the compliance is applicable. Because nowadays we are coming up with lot many issues, because IPs and their support team, I think they have gaps or some kind of non-clarity on that how the forms are applicable, when the forms are applicable. Because recently in June 2024, IBBI has come up with the liquidation forms and voluntary liquidation forms as well, and very soon IBBI is going to implement forms, compliance forms with respect to PG to CD cases as well, because the forms have already been prepared by IBBI, and very hopefully, I mean, maybe in a month or so, they are going to be launched and implemented. So with this, let's start with the CIRP forms, compliance forms. And before I start, I just wanted to recap one thing, that few months back, there was a discussion paper on CIP forms that IBBI is going to have a new compliance form with respect to the CIP forms. So for that, I just wanted to highlight over here that the genesis of these forms is primarily two, like in the present system of compliance, there are two portals. One is IBBI portal and other is Triple IPI portal. And there are a lot of duplication with respect to the compliance in the forms. The designing of the forms are like that. There are duplications as well. So with the idea of removing on the, again, the this paper which we have made and which we have presented to IBBI also, that there is a need to improvise our forms. And then IBBI has come up with this, that whatever requirement IPs are supposed to file on Triple IPI website, that will be merged with the compliance form on IBBI website. So there will, in the future, what we can see is there will be one compliance form on IBBI website. And also with respect to, if I say HYR, the half yearly return, which is again a very pain point for the IPs. So we have some kind of reliever in that compliance as well. But since we have some approvals pending, so very soon our members are going to see a breather over there also, that the compliance will be made, minimized and simplified with respect to those things as well. So let's now understand through a presentation that what are the compliance and where the requirement or where the clarity is required, or rather I would say that regulators are quite clear. And in addition to regulators, many IPs, they are also very much clear on the concept of compliance, because when we do our monitoring check while renewing or issuing AFA, so we have come across that many IPAs, they have true sense of compliance. So rather I would say that whatever understanding we acquire we get from the compliances, good compliances, best compliances, or you can say best practices adapted or adopted by the IPs. So we also gain knowledge and understanding from them. So I would say that being a part of the regulator, so we all are learning from the all IPs only. So that is why it is a joint effort, that whatever common issues we come across, we always present. Whenever there is a gap, we always present to IBBI also. So one such example is that in case of a CIRP, whenever there is a requirement of authorized representative, especially in cases of real estate, where we have observed that there is a real gap in the appointment of the authorized representative. So we have addressed that the appointment from the NCLT. So there is a long gap, or the time period when the NCLT actually passes the order for the appointment, and the date when the IP is filing the application before the AA for the appointment of the authorized representative is high, and that is why the very purpose of implementing or providing this kind of concept in class of creditor is defeating. So recently, IBBI has come up with the amendment in the regulation that the AR role is effective from the date of the application to AA, and so that he can continue with the work which is outlined in the CIP regulations and the code. Okay. So this is how we work. So let us understand the CIP forms. So let me share my presentation. Yeah. Yes. So needless to state that why IPA is doing monitoring. I think the code is clear that IPA has to provide the manner of monitoring and reviewing the work of the IPs. Section 204 also talks about that the IPA includes monitoring the performance of its members. And then various sections like section 2082D, section 31(3) also provides that IP has to submit all the data which about the proceedings before the AA to the IBBI and also to the IPA to which he is a member. Also, the model bylaws and governing board of IPAs, they also talks about the professional member shall submit information, including records of going and ongoing and concluded engagements of the IPs to their IPAs. And if we talk about the model bylaws again, so it talks about that there should be a monitoring policy for every IPAs through which the performance of the members can be measured. So with this objective, basically, how we are doing the things like as far as compliance forms are there. So as we all know that whenever the key major or key activity of IPs, one of the key activity of IP is to maintain their AFA valid throughout their practice. So unlike any other profession in IP profession, every year there is a concept of renewing the AFA. So the IP has to apply the AFA on IBBI website. However, the moment IP apply AFA on the portal of IBBI, so that information is the responsibility of the IPA to take care. So from that day, IPA, they consider that application and start working on it. So just to give you a brief, that our turnaround time for renewing or issuing AFA is from 2 days to at times 3 to 4 months also. So as we discussed that how the compliance is going on, then you can understand that at times IT took more than months to get the compliance done, and the major difficulty is to get the understanding that what is required to be done, because at times IP support staff, they are in the picture and IPs are missing, and also they are not reviewing that what are the compliance required to be done, and as a result the 15 days time they are unable to meet, and as a result rejection is there. So just to give you a brief over here, that once you apply for the AFA, there is a deadline of 15 days within which the IPA has to approve the AFA application with two things in case compliances are done. So compliances means the monitoring compliance as far as compliance forms are there on IBBI website, IPA website, and also fees, CP, everything we need to check. And in case IPs, we send them the requirement, the non-compliances which we consider that it is applicable and they have not done, and then they have to try to complete those compliance. And after that, once they comply with all the formalities, and in case something is not applicable on them, then also they try to apprise the IPA. Then with that thing we try to figure out, and then we issue the AFA. But in many cases what we have seen that IPs they are unable to do the compliances as suggested by the IPAs, because the first answer which we receive once we send the first email for the renewal of the AFA, that these are the gaps or these are the non-compliances which we have seen in your assignments and you have to comply with, and then after which we will be issuing your AFA. The first reply which we, in I think 90% of the cases we receive, is that the compliance form which IPA is highlighting is not applicable to them. But sir, just wanted to highlight over there that I think in out of those 90%, in 89% of the cases, we are trying, and IPs have submitted and IPs have complied with the gaps highlighted by the IPA, and then we have gone with the process of clearing their AFA renewal. So now coming to the first part, CIRP, I'll rather take the liquidation and voluntary liquidation forms first. So in June 24, these forms are now applicable, and I think the circulars are also quite clear. So first deadline was given as 30th September 2024 to comply with the forms. But again, because majority of the IPs, they were not able to file their forms because of technical glitch and everything. Then we had number of meetings with IBBI. We have apprised this fact to IBBI, and after which the IBBI has extended the date till 31st December. And recently also now IBBI has extended the date till 31st March 2024 on the again from our the request raised by triple IPI, because what we have seen that again the IPs, they are facing lot of technical issues in filing the liquidation form first, and secondly the forms they are filing again, when we have scrutinized them, the crucial information which needs to be submitted, which needs to be filled in the forms are missing. And one more important thing in these forms are that liquidation forms are sequential forms. Like if you want to fill liquidation 3 form at the time of filing the application for dissolution of the CD, then you won't be able to fill liquidation 3 because you have to fill liq 1 and liq 2 as well. Unless and until you fill those liq 1 and 2, you won't be able to process further. So that kind of a thing you should keep in mind, that there are cases in which the company might have withdrawal of liquidation, and at times the liquidation is set aside, and again the company is into the CIRP for resolution. See, in those cases also, liq 3 is required to be filled. So now we have highlighted a few things to IBBI, and that is why IBBI has now extended the date as well. First, you need to ensure that whenever you are filing any form, be it liquidation, CIP, whatever, so you should fill the critical information. The purpose of these form is to gather information. So at times IPs, they fill zero data, nil data, some because majority of the requirement of these forms are made non-mandatory, not with the purpose that you should skip while filing, rather because every case is different, and maybe the things which is applicable in one case might not be applicable in other cases. So that's why the IPs, these forms are general and IPs should not face problem. That is why majority of the columns or the uploading of the relevant documents are made non-mandatory. Having said that, non-mandatory doesn't mean that you don't have to fill these requirements, uploading of that kind of particular supporting documents. So the requirement and the responsibility of the IPs while filing these form is to ensure that the critical information they have to fill, and whenever they are filing any of the leak form or CIP, whatever stage up to the date they are filing these forms, they have to file all the relevant data to that form itself. Because when on scrutiny we have realized, and now we are asking IPs to revise their forms because the critical information is missing. And one more technical glitch is there because these forms are not freely available for modification. So earlier when we had a word with IBBI, so they are of the view that from 1st January 2025, whatever they have given as a deadline 31st December, after that they are going to have some penalty on these forms. And whenever there is a modification, so that kind of applicable charges will be there. However, since we have seen that in majority of the cases, majority when I'm saying, but there are IPs who have submitted the critical information as well, on the basis of which we have created a document which we are going to upload and which we are going to share with our IP members in next week, that what is the requirement, minimum requirement they have to keep in mind while filing these forms, liquidation and voluntary liquidation. So basis that now IPPI has further extended so that IPs should get a proper opportunity to modify their forms. And in case, so today we are highlighting whatever critical information is missing and wherever the modification is required in those forms. And we request IPs to reach out to IBBI for the modification, because the window will be provided by the IBBI only. And as of now there is no applicable late charges. So as a vigilant IP, you can also review your forms and you can see that in case critical information is missing, so you should file and upload those things with the help of IBBI, because later on might be a case that penalties will be there, because the idea of regulator is very clear that whatever forms is required to be filled by the IPs, the mandate is that the filing should be accurate, complete with all supporting documents and within the timelines. If something is missing and if there is a late filing, then obvious they are asking for the penal charges, because they have this idea, or they have this thing in mind that the whatever compliance forms are filled, submitted or uploaded are complete in the first go itself. There should not be any sequence, or there should not be any scenario where any kind of modification is required. But what I have seen in the last 4 years of my journey with the triple IPI, that again the modification is required because critical information is still missing in the forms. If we are submitting any form either on other portals, other regulators like income tax, MCA, GST, if the critical information is not there, then there is no point filing these forms. These forms will be considered as good as not filed when all uploading all documents are not complete or accurate. So this is how the entire scenario is going on. And similarly for VL forms also, but one thing is there that VL forms are not sequential forms. So at times VL2 form is not required, which is required to be given at the time of contributories meeting. So in case you have done any contributory meeting, in case your case is going beyond 90 days or 270 days as per the applicable law, then you have to file. Otherwise, you can submit VL3 and 4. And also these forms, as far as VL forms are concerned or the liquidation forms are concerned, for all the closed cases, as on the date of the circular also, that is 28th June 2024. So the cases which are closed even in 2018, 2019, the information is required to be uploaded on these forms. And in case you have any kind of question, and in case you are filing, if you are facing any kind of glitch a problem, so you can connect with us, you can write to us. We'll highlight your concern to the appropriate person in IBBI, and also in the recent circular, which is dated, I believe, 7th Jan, in which they have extended the date. They have given a particular email ID where you can raise your concern. So in today's session, I think the best part is that preemptively we have now understood that what is the requirement and how to get it done, because whenever in the future any kind of modification or non-compliance is there, certainly the penalty or the late fee, those kind of things will be applicable, similar or parallel to the at present, which is applicable in CIRP. So before moving on to CIRP, so I'll request, if you have any question or as maybe feel relevant by Dr. Makhija, will take up the question over here or towards the end. So I'm happy to take the question as well.
I think, Leenaji, it is better that if we take up the questions topic-wise, like you also mentioned, you talked about liquidation and voluntary liquidation forms. I think I'll request members, if they have any questions about it, they can unmute themselves or they can put it in the chat box.
Right, sir, right.
Yeah, okay. Are there any questions, friends? Yeah.
This is Madhu Desikan, calling from Chennai. I have a lot of questions. Is it can I send it by mail to you, sir?
Yes,
I don't want to waste time of others.
Okay, okay.
Anything in journal, if you have, you can ask, sir.
Okay, I'll ask you one general question, one generic question.
Yeah.
See, the point is, say I'm handling a lot of 94 case insolvency, personal insolvency cases.
Right.
Now, the issue is, some of it is in Mumbai, some of it is in Hyderabad. I'm based out in Chennai. Now, issue is that there's a lot of delays due to the scrutiny defects, and they raise the defects. I cure it. They still raise the same defect. The issue is, I mean, I'm not making a complaint, but I just want a guidance from you. See, the issue is, when I try to call the NCLT, they don't pick up the calls. So I would appreciate if you could take this point and help us out. Some kind of a call center or something like that to address these issues.
So with respect to NCLT, sir, you are talking that there should be some kind of a helpline or something.
Exactly, not helpline, some call center to address. I have this is one of my several things. Other things I'll send it by mail. I don't want to waste time.
Okay, so you can connect to us offline as well, and you can send to our mail IDs, which is available on the website.
That is monitoring.
Yeah. And I have taken note, and I will discuss with Rahul, sir, because I think we have some presentation to IBBI.
Especially a lot of cases, they raise a lot of issues. There's a lot of delays. Something like 5 months, which is, to my thing, is unnecessary. That is my main issue.
I think on this point, on the helpline, let's hear Mr. Makhija, because he is more into the legal practice than anybody else. So, do you think it is practical? Because there is a protocol, there is a office system of NCLT, which is difficult to break, difficult to pivot.
I agree with you, my sir, but the point is, my humble request is, ask them to take up the calls. I mean, don't mistake me. I'm not giving it as a complaint. I don't want it to be recorded as a complaint.
Yeah,
but it's a request.
Point taken. Yes, point taken.
They don't take up the calls. And kind of when I send the letters, they don't reply. So I think we should have some kind of a call center to address this.
Okay, Mr. Desikan, I think your point is well noted. As lawyers, you see, our teams also face sometimes the problem because the registry points out certain defects, scrutiny defects, and it is very difficult to cure those defects. It takes a lot of time. I really appreciate what you are saying, but definitely I think at our end from IPNet also, and I think at Triple IPI, I think we'll bring it to the notice of the concerned authorities, because it is typically those authorities like NCLT, they will have to take a call on this. But we note your point. Definitely it will be taken forward. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Also,
I have, sir, one more thing before I stop this. Whom do I give a request for any guidance or some kind of complaint? Not complaint. I just want some kind of somebody to guide us in certain
In
matters.
triple IPA, sir? In
Triple IP, IBBA, both.
Sir, on triple IPA, you can send on triple IPA underscore monitoring and
Monitoring, okay.
at
Right.
ICAI.in, and you can also mark to IP underscore monitoring. And for IBBI, sir, you send us the email. We'll send you by mail that who are the relevant person, what are the relevant email IDs, category wise, like whatever is your issue, so that it can be sent to the appropriate person.
Appreciate it.
And
maybe
sir,
if you can,
I
if you
request
can put
that
it in the
for-
chat box, I'll just note it down.
Okay, sir. And
Thank
secondly,
you.
sir,
Appreciate it.
whenever you want to connect to triple IPI, so try to connect on the helpline number, which is a mobile number given towards the end of every email communication. Because at times we face this kind of issue also from the IP members that landlines are not responsive, etc.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Namrata, I believe Bharti is coordinating. So there are few questions are also there in the chat box on
Okay,
liquidation.
thank you. I'm done.
Leena ji, if you can just read Rajesh Kamat's
Yes.
on the chat box. It's on liquidation.
Okay.
Namrata, is Bharti ji coordinating?
Yes, sir. Can I read the question for Leena ji? It will be easier for her to
Sure, ma'am,
understand
sure.
fast.
Sure.
Yes, so there was one case which started off with voluntary liquidation. However, the CRP process kicked in through the NCLT order. So the question is, accordingly, now will the voluntary liquidation forms be applicable, like you want to,
Sir,
etc.?
can I put a one question, please?
Sir, would you be able to put it on
Can
the
I
chat
ask a
box, sir?
question?
Can you put it in the chat box, sir, please?
Sir, just wait.
Can I ask one question, please?
Sir Rao, just hold on. One question is being read. She is answering it. We will give you a chance, sir. Just wait for 2 minutes.
So, ma'am, you are talking about the liquidation or the VL?
Ma'am, so the liquidation first it started with voluntary liquidation.
Okay,
And
okay.
during the process and during the thing wherever what is happening, CRP process kicked in by virtue of NCLT order.
Right.
Now the point is that whether voluntary liquidation forms would be applicable
Yes,
or not.
ma'am, very much. So if you can see on the screen, this VL1 at the time of making the public announcement, VL3, which is on or before 10 subsequent month of submission of either dissolution application, withdrawal or suspension of application to AA, and VL4 is required whenever there is a withdrawal or suspension of this process by AA. So this is very much applicable.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I guess Mr. Rajesh is the query answered.
Okay, Bharti, I think we can.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, the query is answered. But regarding the second part, now it is into compulsory liquidation. So again, these forms will also apply, or
So the liq forms. So now it is in compulsory liquidation after the CIRP. So now
Yes.
the liq forms are applicable in that particular case.
Correct. So I have been appointed as the liquidator only in the compulsory. So I will have to fill only that LIQ forms, I guess. The voluntary would have to be done by the earlier IRP and or the RP, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. So I have not received anything regarding the voluntary part. So I'm just ignoring. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, Mr. Kameshwar Rao, you had a question. If you are there, you can unmute.
Yeah. I'm here, sir. Thank you very much. See, this IBBI is saying in one of the meeting that though AFA is not granted, you have to renew your membership. What is the present position by these IPAs, sir?
Sir, AFA is basically equivalent to the certificate of practice. So whenever you want to undergo or you want to take any assignment, then you should have a valid AFA. But otherwise, if you are an IP registered with IBBI, then you have to pay your membership. You have to maintain your membership both at IBBI and IPA.
So you are also insisting for renewing the membership.
Yes, sir. So renewal of membership means you have to make payment as and when it is due. Like for IPA, it is on yearly basis, and at IBBI, it is on 5-yearly basis. So you have
when there is no opportunity for practicing as IPA after 70 years, and I am not eligible to get an AFA, what is the point of renewing membership?
then sir, in that case, you need to, figure out whether you want to continue with your registration. Then only you have a exit mechanism in
Your
this.
voice is
Yeah,
breaking.
yeah, Lina, let me add here, and we
Yes,
will
sir.
hear possibly Mr. Makhija's view also. On this point, my view is that practice beyond 70 year is barred as of now. In future, it may be allowed. I am keeping my fingers crossed, so there is a discussion going on.
Okay.
Irrespective of that, I'm saying even if it is not done, being an IP, the tag or designation given to you through the registration and the membership of IPA, you can play a meaningful role as a consulting person or advisor consultant, since adding IP designation makes a lot of professional credibility to your name.
Okay.
That itself means something. So it is not that it has no meaning. But yes, AFA beyond 70 years, as of now, it is under debarment, but it may be lifted.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
But supposing you think that you you renunciate your or renounce your membership, and in future you want to join the profession again, then you will have to take a longer route.
I can do temporary
By
surrender and then do
no,
it.
no, temporary is not possible. It initially it was in 2019 or 20 onwards that temporary mechanism has been deactivated. As of now, it's only one way, either in or
I
out.
see.
There is no
Okay.
temporary.
Okay. Thank you.
The next person is Hari Prasad ji. Hari Prasad ji, you had a query: reducing number of AFA, reducing number of empanelments in IBBI, reducing number of IP registration with IBBI, and what would be the future of the IP profession and insolvency process?
So Rahul
You
sir, would
could,
you like to take up this question?
Yeah. Okay. This is a open-ended point, but can you please repeat? Possibly I didn't hear it properly.
yes, yes. So, Mr. Hari Prasad is saying that reducing number of AFA renewals, further reducing number of empanelments in the IBI panels, and the reducing number of IPs registering with IBBI, what would be the future of the IP profession and
Okay.
insolvency process?
Okay, I take your feedback. So let me share a quick number crunching here. I think 2-3 years ago, we used to have hundreds of new entrants into this profession. Gradually, the number has dwindled significantly. So currently, we are looking at yearly intake of the new members coming in this profession is mid two-digit number, which is low, very, very low compared to, say, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. So, of course, this is a worrying sign. But nevertheless, the profession is increasing in terms of scope and the future outlook. Looking at the futuristic dispensations or the frameworks on the group insolvency, cross-border or full-fledged individual insolvency will significantly increase. That is one side of it. Secondly, a lot of when the economy grows. So today we are a 3.5 or $3.75 trillion economy as a country. Once we reach 5 trillion or maybe 10 trillion, if we go by the government targets, a developed nation by 2047, it will have something like 15 trillion or around that figure. So much of new business or exit will also take place. So just because of economy size growing exponentially, the professional opportunity will tremendously be higher compared to today's scenario. I think one should not lose hope. Stick around, wait for the right opportunity, but keep trying and keep looking for a business opportunity or the professional opportunities, and keep working as a consultant here and there if no assignment is not coming by. But be visible to the world either through as a faculty or writer but keep trying, and I think success will come by. So I think on this point, particularly, I'll be keen to hear Mr. Makija's view.
Actually, well, the statistics are very dangerous thing. So at the end of the day, friends, even the businesses are also cyclical. Today we are maybe prospering, but maybe 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, there may be some kind of a recession. Again, NPS might be growing. So I think let's keep our hopes on this. And I would say that there is no dearth of work. So keep your hope in IVC and the ecosystem. I think Mr. Hari Prasad knows better because he's practicing as an advocate. All right. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
Sir,
very much,
just
Rahulji and Ashishji.
yeah, so just wanted to add one number that so our IPs holding AFA, the number is not going down. So
Okay.
the AFA, yeah, AFA is still growing, and if not increasing, it is not going down.
At least something to take heart from. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Sir, I
And
have
the
a
next
question, Leena madam.
Yes, ma'am. Please.
I have a question. See, regarding the penalties which you're telling for LIQ forms in future. So, see, with penalties, what is happening is, see, you might review the form anytime, right? So what happens? The filing date was at some other time. Suppose it was in March, but you're reviewing in August. Then you say you refile the form. Our penalty starts from the time you're reviewing or from March itself?
So, ma'am, from the actual date. So just
Then,
wanted to
madam, then this is like, I mean, we will be unnecessary burdening ourselves with all this, right? So there has to be certain deadline for you also to review the forms, no, ma'am?
So, ma'am, this is what I'm saying that so I have given in the beginning the number of forms actually filled by IPs till date on both the portals. So, as far as penalties are concerned, there is no such penalty on the filing of form at triple IPI website except the half yearly returns. And as far as IBBI portal is concerned, so that is why they have increased the deadline. And now coming to the point of the scrutiny. So you are right that we will not be reviewing all the forms till by 31st March 2025 even, because we don't have that kind of bandwidth first, and secondly there is no system of reviewer and checkers in this framework. So as we go along, whenever there is a AFA renewal, so we need to review at that time also, but sample on the basis of sample checking, we keep on sending or keep on apprising through these kind of webinars that these are the gaps. And as I already disclosed that next week we are going to release one list also, that what are the minimum requirement of what should we keep in mind while filing liquidation and voluntary liquidation forms. So that kind of things we can, with the experience of this for the last 4 years in triple IPA, this is what we can, ma'am, start doing with for the benefit of our members.
Ma'am, I have a suggestion, ma'am. I
Yes, ma'am.
appreciate all your efforts, but then while scrutinizing the forms, once you are, I mean, probably something like an FAQ also, you can give it on the website. Okay, these are
Yeah,
the things to
yes,
be
ma'am.
done.
Yes,
And
yes.
secondly, madam, when you're reviewing the forms, from that date, you give us 7 days to file the form without any penalty. After 7th day, if we don't file, you can charge the penalty, no, madam. Because this will be really unfair that, March our deadline is there, and when we are reviewing, see, my review of my AFA is valid till 31st December next year. So something which was done in March, December I'm applying, you will review the form that time, and then you will ask me to pay the penalty from April. That's a real injustice, madam. Please consider this suggestion.
Ma'am, we have noted your point and will try to, bring this in front of IBBI also, that how we can make this compliance more effective by not
Yes.
penalizing our members.
Thank
So
you,
we'll
ma'am.
try to, ma'am, figure out, and your suggestion is
Yes,
well taken.
yes, ma'am. I
Madam
also.
Garu,
Yes, yes.
one small, in continuation to Anuradha Madam. Madam Garu, what happening when AFA is renewing? 2 years before issues, 3 years before issues. That means, for example, there is sometimes when IRP becomes RP, whether separate form is need to be filled or not is not specified initially. Then after it is coming up. But what happening when AFA is renewing? 2 years before small issues also is coming up. Because of that, each form 10,000 rupees also is required to be filed. When one time is AFA is renewed, our request is not to go any. See, some small interpretation issues may come into picture, and subsequently before renewal it is not raised, assume, and subsequent renewals before issues also rising, madam. Such type of issues, even one form it is attracting 10,000 rupees like that, madam. That is some deadline, as Anuradha madam is suggested. Something if you brought up, and see, none of the members intentionally don't want to do any of the mistakes. That means non-filing of the thing, this one like that. But something from the data of your review, if any observation is came up within 7 days or 10 days, so if it is not updated, then levy the penalties. That means forms like that. So this I have seen many of the people, one form is raised more than 365 days like that, madam. This is our
Sir,
suggestion.
your point is taken very well by Neela ma'am, and she has noted this. There are few more points with respect to that also, that the AFA was not renewed because the CPA hours was not there. Where will there be a penalty on the renewal after 1 year? Neela ma'am, can you put this put a little light on if the AFA is not renewed for 1 year now, and if they go ahead for the renewal after 1 year because of the lack of the pending CP hours, will there be any penalty on the same?
No,
If you
ma'am,
could
no
a little
penalty
light.
as such. No penalty as such, but what is there as for the system or as per the code and regulation, that the IP cannot apply or cannot give the consent for any new assignment. So he has to make sure, because recently, last week only, there is a DC order from IBBI in which uh, suspension is there because of this, because there was no valid AFA, and IP has accepted and given consent for new assignments. As such, there is no penalty for non-renewal.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
the.
Madam,
let
can
me.
Yes, sir.
I like to just quickly add, Lina, can we also highlight our point of view in respect of the older issue to be raised during AFA renewal process
Yes,
beyond 1 year
sure.
or 2 year? I think
Yes.
consciously we do not do that. Exceptionally, possibly yes, but not as a general rule. Just highlight
Yes, sir.
your point of view here.
Yeah. So, sir, first of all, actually, in October 2023, we have developed one software utility which is called Master Data Utility. So we have been asking our members that whatever assignments they are having, so they have to give us the intimation that this is a new assignment they have, in which they are appointed, and also regularly they have to update the status of that assignment. So whatever is the development in that assignment is there. But prior to October 2023, we don't have that data available in, with, you can say, the entire data in front of us, because earlier we are asking these information through Google form, and many IPs, they are not submitting. So after developing this utility, I think the one of the best part is that now we have complied, and we have asked our member to complete the pending compliances, primarily on one first point, that IPBI. So whatever we are doing, whatever AFAs we are checking, so we have to submit a report to IBBI. It's also, and then IBBI keep us telling that in case non-compliances are there, so they do apprise us a few sample cases also, if any of the compliance is due and not done by the IP, and they ask us to get the compliance done from the IP. And in case it is not done, then what their conclusion and their direction is to suspend the AFA. I think suspension of AFA is a very big uh, black spot in one's IP career. So that is why consciously we have kept that this year, whatever assignments are ongoing, so whatever assignments were closed, so there we are not asking, or may not be asking, but whatever assignments are ongoing for the last 24 cycle, we are consciously asked our IP members to comply with all the forms. And second point is that now the new CP forms will be there. So then also it is a exercise done by us so that the whatever non-compliances were pending, that should be done by the IPs. So on this point, I just wanted to highlight one more thing, that I keep on hearing this, that the other two IPAs, they are not asking compliance, and we are asking compliance for each and everything. So, sir, my point of view is that ethical conduct is a requirement at all levels, including the regulators, because IBBI is very strict, and we have multiple on many meetings with IBBI where it has been apprised that other IPAs and the standard or the SOP for the compliance is same across all three IPAs. So it is not a case where we can take leave, we don't have the liberty. And in case, whenever there is a inspection being conducted by either by the IPA or the IBBI, if some non-compliances comes across, then also it is to be highlighted. So this is how the entire monitoring and inspection is being going through.
Then there's very one interesting question. Someone has raised that it's been 1.5 years that their CP hours has not been updated. So there are a lot of problems during for the update of the CP credits that they get. And AFA is also based on and since now the block of 23 to 25 is going to get over. And how would the CP hours get updated if it is not on the regular basis? It's been the gentleman is N. Kumar, who has raised this well.
Yeah, on this point, Lina, let me come in. So just to assure the participants here that even if the AFA, at the time of AFA renewal, irrespective of whether it was pending for 2 months, 5 months, 6 months, I'll come to that timeline. But at the time of AFA application, their CP pendencies are taken up definitely 101% and on priority. So it is not that your AFA will get impacted because of that. For sure, no application of AFA gets impacted because of the pending CP processing. So that is automatically in our system taken care as and when AFA. But nevertheless, delays are there because of manual system as of now, which IBBI follows. Manual means one-to-one application rather than a bulk uploading of CP program that we conduct. But as I mentioned in my opening remarks, the CP bulk processing software is ready and to be rolled out very soon. So I'm just waiting for the green light from IBBI, with other IPAs also working towards closing that bit. So in future, it will be definitely under control, much more under control. But even now, no one gets impacted at the time of AFA application. Their cases of CP application are taken immediately and on priority.
Thank you very much, Rahul sir. Thank you so much. One question from Payal Agarwal ji is a very interesting question. Liquidation was ordered by the Honorable NCLT. Within a week's time, it went back to the CRP via the NCLAT order. In such situation, liquidation forms are to be filed. LQ1.
Ma'am, this is actually we have raised to IBBI also, that in cases where even the public announcement is not done. So as I said, that all the liquidation forms are sequential, and you have to fill first the liq 1, then 2, 3, 4, and in this particular case, if public announcement is also not done, then it is difficult to fill even liquidation 1. So we have apprised this fact to IBBI. So will apprise to the IP. They can connect with us and they can write to us so that we can also highlight again to the IBBA on this particular issue. So right now there is no remedy to this, but it is already apprised to IBBI, to develop some FAQs on these kind of things.
I have one question.
Leela
madam,
one question, please. In some of the cases, AFA takes time for renewal. So, what is the AFA has already been expired and it takes 10 more days to get renewed. By the time the status and all the things get updated, I have seen in many NCLTs, they are asking whether the RP can continue or not, because after 10 days, if it is renewed, then there is a gap of 10 days. So what is the status and how the RP should handle this? Because if AF is expired on 10th December and we get renewal on 25th, for example. So how to deal with such situation?
So, ma'am, as per the existing regulation, you can apply for the AFA renewal 45 days in advance. So, in that case, if you apply in advance, so our timeline are 15 days. And if you comply with the whatever gaps we have highlighted, so as I told in the beginning itself, that our turnaround time for issuance is from 2 days to 3 months. It depends on the IP, that how the IP is moving forward.
Madam,
Well,
like I want to understand, like in NCLTs, I have heard NCLT asking ki the ICI or IBBI should say ki the 10 days gap is there, like AFA is expired and the person is continuing as an RP and the AFA takes 10 days time. So should he continue or should he not continue? Matlab, without AFA continues for 10 days.
Ma'am, there are two things. One, if you're talking about the new assignments, because
Old,
NCLT
existing, madam.
I think
ongoing
Existing.
assignments, so I
ongoing,
think
there should
regulations
not
are
be issue.
quite clear that you can continue with your ongoing
No
assignments in
issues
case
on that.
even you're not having valid AFA.
while we are talking on forms, I have a small suggestion, please. I'm Ramesh from Hyderabad.
Yes, sir.
See, recently, while I'm filing the progress report for liquidation, NCLT has made it mandatory to write, to fill in a form, I mean, online, payment received, amount disbursed. They have not specified whether it is purely sale proceeds or even contributions. So I would like the IPPA to triple IP to kindly take up with NCLT to clarify this, because if this is the latest problem which I'm facing while filing the progress report from this month or this quarter.
So which NCLT you're talking?
No, it's a general online from NCLT, All India.
All, so
If you
all
want, I can share
NCLT.
that. If you can give me share permission, it will take only 1 minute for you to see that, and tomorrow you can take it up with the NCLT.
Sir, what I suggest is if you can connect with us offline on this issue,
Sure,
because
sure.
I think
Yeah.
we need to
Anyone,
discuss in detail.
fine. Anyone who's filing progress report, they are asking mandatory to say payment received and amount disbursed. So the doubt is whether it is only limiting to sale proceeds or all receipts. Okay, I'll get back to you. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Madam, one more small doubt. See, this time all our AFAs will be expiring on 31st December 2025, because most of our AFAs are now valid up to 31st December 25.
Right.
So at that juncture, you will getting almost all 2000 renewal applications. So are you ready to face that kind of a this one? Because now as of today, we are having different dates. So maybe it is easy for you to handle. But if all of us apply for the same date, is it not a problem for IPA?
Sir, here I just wanted to highlight one more thing, that recently IBBA has come up with a discussion paper in which they have proposed to increase the time. As I said, that 45 days in advance you can apply for the AFA renewal. So they are going to increase to 90 days, and also our processing time from 15 days to 45. So I think IBBI is already taking care of these kind of timelines. And also I'll request Rahul sir, if you
I
want
think,
to highlight something on this.
yes, you already mentioned, just because this issue which the gentleman just highlighted, we were also worried to the core on this point that it will be a nightmarish to manage these kind of numbers, huge numbers in say short time frame. So we presented that view, and IBBI took the cognizance and then proposed to change the timeline, as Lina highlighted, 45 to 90 days, and our processing time also increasing from 15 to whatever 30 or 45 days. So, but the numbers would be huge. So we will start a campaign much in advance, so that it is not bunched up. The requests are staggered rather than getting bunched up. But yes, issue will be there for sure.
But sir, for
So there
that,
is,
I'll request our members that before applying, so the what practice which we have noticed, that IPs, they apply for the AFA, and their compliances are pending since beginning, like from the last renewal date. So I'll request if you can, comply with all the compliance forms and then apply, then it will be easy for us also and for the IPs also. So to our major factor is that we should provide AFA renewal on time to IPs. So for that, if it is I think, joint effort by both IPAs and IPs.
Okay, Mr. Madan, I have got Well, of course, I'm not covered by AFS. So I don't really be affected by the AFS.
Yes.
But looking at the sentiments of the IPs here,
Mhm.
I can think of one very quick suggestion. Look, as far as AFA is concerned, can we also consider that it should not be renewed every year? It can be extended to, say, 3 years or a 5-year period, just like IBBI registration. The reason I'm saying is because you see, you need to check whether the person is qualified or not, right? So what you can ask him when an annual return is coming at the or while filing at the end of the year, you can say whether you are still qualified or not. You submit those kind of things. Take an undertaking, but take a 5-year fees altogether so that the person and you are also not burdened and the person is clear in his mind that it is continued. I mean, this is only a suggestion which you can take up
Okay.
with the
No,
other.
I think good that Mr. Bakija, you raised this point. Let me, I didn't touch upon it consciously, but since you highlighted, let me give a complete 360-degree view on this. So we, last many years, personally, that is my pet project to convince IBBI to make AFA as a perennial offering or perennial certificate like COP in Chartered Accountant Institute, but subject to certain time bound compliance check, because the why AFA is different from COP because of the time bound annual compliance check, because of highly compliance oriented or the legal oriented nature of the activity, unlike chartered accountants or unlike any other profession. Then we convinced IBBI that if it is made perennial, that doesn't mean that it will compromise on the compliance check. So we will at IPA level, we will have a calendar whereby every IP would be subjected to some kind of a annual or maybe 1.5 year or 2 year scrutiny. Hence, at least those IP who are time bound and who are compliant all the time will not be even bothered about renewal every year, or so they will not be even disturbed. So, but yes, who doesn't do that will be subjected to scrutiny. So that that proposal is in, I would say, on the table of IBBI as of now. So let's see whether that sees the light of the day.
Hello, great, sir. Thank you. I believe you're
Sir, one small thing. See, the non-compliance on the part of RPs is not voluntarily. It is because see, certain forms we are filing in IBBI, we are also filing in IPA. Then some minimum. Some are event based, some are time based, like that. No, so somewhere definitely one of us will miss one of them. So that was the reason why we are missing it, but not.
Yes, yes. So, yeah,
That,
too many.
when you say that let IPs comply everything, so we are complying everything, but by mistake one or two miss here and there, then that is what
Yes,
the problem is.
your point of multiple filing, multiple compliances at two separate ecosystem of IPA and IBBI is well understood, and because of that, the new so year and a half away. So that I'm quoting the timeline given by none other than MCA publicly, which has been even published in the newspaper. That IPI network, which is integrated software, will be available for the usage of ecosystem in 1.5 years time. So I think until then, IBBI will roll out new revamped CRP forms with reduced number of fields, reduced number of compliances, and we possibly, I'm just marking the word possibly, and most likely I would say, will stop HYR compliances at our end very soon, or subject to certain approvals which are pending. So I think things would improve. All I can say.
True, sir. Instead of event based, if it's a time based, like monthly one form, like we file a TDS form, we file a GST form, we also file an IP form. So like
Yeah,
that, if it's easy for all of us to remember. Otherwise, even becoming difficult for us to remember them. That's the issue.
No, we are aware of this pain, and but without compromising the nature and the quality, we will see how best we can address this. For sure, point taken. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul. Thank you so much.
Sir, one more thing I want to
Bharti.
highlight that as far as
Ji.
timelines are concerned, if you look at VL and liquidation forms, I think the timelines are very clear and very easy to comply with. And in the new mechanism of CP forms, also the timelines are made like this. So I think IBBI has already considered this for with respect to compliance form. And I'm very much hopeful that in the new schemes of CP forms, that will make the compliance more easy and eco-friendly and user-friendly.
So there is one observation that I had gone through when I applied for my AFA. This is Parag Singhal. I am General Secretary IPNet. Madan sir, the CPR requirement per year are 10 and rolling block is 60 in 3 years. Now, why can't we have 20 CPRs per year so that this gap of 10 and 30 is very confusing and it often skips the attention of IPs to
Right.
complete 60 CPRs.
Okay, so 60 is prescribed
Rolling
as
block
per,
of 3 years.
yes, 60 is prescribed over the 3 years. So on an average, it is 20 any which way, what you are saying, it is anyway, but minimum of 10, it says, the guideline says minimum of 10. That means if it is not 20 full, say 18 or 15 or 14, you are still good to go in terms of AFA renewal. But from 1st January, that is just this year, in consultation with IPBI, the decision has been taken and mail has been rolled out, all IPs, at least triple IPA, and I'm sure with other IPAs also, from 1st January onwards. Unlike in the past, now AFA will not be possible to get renewed even if minimum of 10 is not achieved. But between 10 and 20, any number is possible. But ideally 20, but minimum 10. So if we make 20, as you are suggesting, then rather it will be tough, because if IPs are not able to complete that minimum, so minimum has to be lower than the ideal. Ideal is 20, minimum is 10, and over the 3 years course it is 60. But if you think there is a merit in refiguring out the numbers, I am happy to, because as of now, on our request, IBBI is in the process of revamping this policy of CP, and we can suggest more. But to my mind, I think 60 on an average, 20 per year, and minimum of 10 makes sense.
Yes,
But
sir. I think it really makes sense because it gives a little flexibility to
yeah.
the people also to comply it the next year if they miss the bus.
But normally, sir, it is not kept in mind that you have missed the bus.
Please, hence 10 is the lower threshold, but I think it
Yes,
is
sir.
for you all to be extremely mindful of the CP requirement. Unlike Chartered Accountant Institute or other professional institute like ICSI, their CP guidelines are there, but I think they are not very, very strict. But in IBC ecosystem, somehow CP is a holy cow. Holy cow cannot be compromised.
Yes, sir. Thank you
Right,
very
sir.
much, Madan sir, for answering that question. There is one question by Tina also, that fees should be fixed for PG cases also, and I suggest fees should be fixed for liquidation cases also, because only the CIRP once converts into the liquidation, there is no funds left in the company at all for any expenses. I think that is also one gray area which should be looked at.
This point actually we have already highlighted to IBBI. We have presented a report on this also, and where we have highlighted both the issues for liquidation and for personal guarantors to see.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much.
And one
So
more
are there more
request,
questions?
madam. When at the time of AFA renewal, they go back to 2-3 years back assignment, and then again the same things are repeated. So my humble request, only last year's assignment, continuing and existing, should only be reviewed
So
while
for that,
renewing
ma'am,
AFA.
yeah, so my request would be like there is a software utility, master data utility on triple IPA website, where you should, update the status of the assignment. For us also, it is very difficult to understand what is the status, because if you see in the entire ecosystem of IBC, there is no portal where the status is available. So that is why this portal we have introduced, from where once an IP is updating their status, so if you correctly update your status, then it is easy for the IPA also to check that what are the compliances done and what are the compliances still to be done. So that is why these kind of communication and to and fro are there. because IPs, they are not updating, they are not providing the details. Many of the IPs, they even don't apprise us about the new cases in their name. So we have to find out those cases, and then we have to apprise them that these are the cases in which non-compliances are there.
One last question. If which we have recently faced, actual expenses are to be approved by COC. Now, for example, it is a real case in which COC was divided in 50-50, and one of the COC member holding 50% only filed the case. He was the petitioner. So he never approved the litigation expense. So I could never attend 66%. So, sir, that has to be looked into, because whoever will file the petition will never like any other person to win. Like there were 3 COC members, it was 50-50%. 50% one COC member, 2 other members were 50%. So I never got approval of 66% for bearing actual litigation expenses of the CRP. So in such cases, actually that person who is a petitioner and is the member of COC should be excluded while counting the votes for approving the litigation expense.
Yes, I think it is a kind of a loaded question come observation. So you are saying that that scheme of things, as far as voting pattern is concerned, it is like interested party to be recused from that particular voting item where indirectly or directly someone is COC member is interested directly or indirectly. So interesting. So okay, we are not. We have not examined it legally, but yes, it has a merit. Let's. I think Makija ji, possibly being a legal expert, can also throw some light. But it is worth examining, I would say.
Sir, I will like to bring one more thing to your kind notice. Like the litigant has appointed a senior counsel. Now, the two other COC members are agreeing for a senior, but the litigant is not agreeing because they don't want us to win. Now, sir, such situations, if recommendation could be made, if the COC member is the litigant, they should be excluded from voting.
On that item, on that
Yes, on that
item.
particular item, because I myself have suffered a lot.
Okay, so that is interesting. So we haven't really come across this kind of observation or feedback. So Lina, please take a note and we will examine it separately. Mr. Makija, any quick thought of yours on this very interesting one?
Well, you see, these are practical difficulties particularly in the COC. I think what I suggest is in these cases, the IPs have to play a very, very major role because IPs have to persuade. There is a skill of persuasion which is required to convince that, look, whatever expenses we are incurring, it is only towards the CIRP and other things, and it is for the betterment. I think over a period of time, things will definitely improve. I don't find any legal solution can be found out for this particular aspect. Because excluding one party, then you see, in some cases, supposing he's the 100%, he's the only creditor, then what will happen? So you can look at the other side of the coin also. All right. Okay.
There's something like this happens in the liquidation also, wherein the liquidation is mostly all the OCs also come into play. When OCs are there, they definitely don't want to give the progress report on the IAs. We have to beg, plead them to get it approved, the legal cost, because it is every 3 months. So every 3 months you have to put an IA. Yes, sir. Every 3 months we have to put an IA.
We are digressing from the regulatory to other things.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm so sorry.
Sir, one suggestion: if for actual expenses approval, the percentage may be reduced to 50% or 51%.
Okay, I think Tina will definitely look into this, and we will consider within our executive committee first, the regional members, and then we will put our suggestions to triple IPI or IBPI. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So let's
Sir,
come.
Mr. Raghavendra ji has a LQ2 question, LIQ2 question with the table 8A and 8B. Sir, could you just unmute yourself and ask the question, please? Mr. Raghavendra ji, are you there?
Yeah. Good evening, Alina madam. See, in LQ2 form, we have a restriction payment, that is table 8A and 8B. There is a column for current quarter and a column for the cumulative figure. In the previous 3, see, we have filed for June, September and March. The previous forms we are already filed. In these three forms, what happened? Whatever you are filling up in the current quarter was taken as a total for the cumulative. They were not given. They were not given separately for current quarter and cumulative quarter. But in this quarter, when I type the current figure, the cumulative figure is not taken as the same figure. Rather, it doubles. So there is some technical issue. It looks like that. Can you please clarify whether it is this is a problem? This is a technical problem, or it is a problem on our side?
No, sir. I think these kind of issues which we have already highlighted to IBBI because technical glitch is there. So you are not the only IP. So you can write to us and we can forward and you can simultaneously write to IBBI as well. So the email ID of the IBBI is provided in the circular which has been issued on 7th January as per my memory recalls. So in which they have extended the date for 31st March 2025. So you can address and then accordingly they will resolve. They will provide you a window and nowadays IBBI technical team is also connecting with the IPs on one-to-one basis to provide the facilitate their filing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I think we should go on with the CIRP form.
Problem on our side, correct?
Pardon, sir?
No, it is actually a technical problem on the technical side. Is it correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So I think we should go ahead with CIRP forms, sir, ma'am.
Yes. I think CIP forms are the major pain point for the IPs.
Before that, how much time do we have left? Accordingly, maybe you can quickly summarize, Lena.
It won't be possible for me to summarize because I think inspection part I have not covered. Rather, I'll ask or request Makhija sir to schedule one more session.
I think what we can do, Mr. Madan and Leena ji, that we can take more questions right now because typically we do it for 2 hours, so we are almost at the end. Maybe we can spend 10 more minutes. What I suggest is for inspection, we'll keep another webinar completely on inspection and monitoring part. I think that is also very important, but just clarify one more aspect. Many IPs are getting some notices like it is a trigger based or it is a routine matter. So they just want to understand what is trigger, what is routine kind of inspection which is there. So when they get the notice and what is the first thing they should do once they get the notice, because everyone gets worried on this. So if you can just explain the process, I think it will be much easier for them. Yes.
So sir, in the present scheme, we have two kind of inspection. Although the process is same for both the kind of inspection. One is routine, and as the name says, routine means that over a period of 5 to 7 years, we have to cover all the IPs having assignment that we have to do the inspection of all the assignments of all the IPs. But as the name suggests, trigger based that whenever we have a reference from our GRC, from the board or from IBBI, or at times we also see that during our monitoring and AFA renewal that there are certain things or non-compliances. So we also refer and take approval internally to consider the inspection as a trigger base. So as the name says, trigger means it is based on some finding, some complaint, or some kind of non-compliance. And routine is a routine inspection where we have to cover all the IPs. We prepare an inspection plan at the beginning of the year and we try to cover inspection, minimum number of inspection in a year. So this is how the things moves on. And also to give you a brief on the process of inspections. So then first we issue the inspection notice in which we highlight the assignment name and the capacity in which the RP has to provide the assignment. And as a policy, we always try to capture in routine inspection the concluded stages of the assignment. Like in case of a CIRP, there are two stages. One is IRP and other is RP. So we try to cover only the IRP stage in case the assignment is ongoing in that particular year or the date on which the inspection notice is issued. And for trigger-based inspection, however, the case is different that we can analyze, we can ask any kind of document as on the date of the inspection notice. Once we give the inspection notice, we provide 10 days timeline to provide us all the documents. And for that, we provide a list of the document assignment wise. And there are other documents also which an IP has to submit. Preliminary questionnaire is there, list of document is there, compliance check list is there, model timelines they have to provide. And once they submit the documents, then we start analyzing their documents. And once we are finished with the review, then we have some preliminary report prepared, and then we conduct online meeting with the IPs. So at present, we are doing online inspections. We are not visiting, but however, in case it is required, we may do so also. We can visit the office of the IP as well. And then in the online meeting, we try to, explain our findings, and then we ask the IP to reply on the draft report. We share the draft report with the IP after the meeting, and we provide 15 days time for them to answer on the observations highlighted in the draft report. And once they provide all the answers and reply and with the supporting documents, then we prepare a final inspection report. And at that time also we'll try to have an online meeting with the IP, so that whatever are our findings based on their reply, we try to highlight to the IP that if they want to submit anything else, or if something which they think that is not correctly captured, so again a window is there through this meeting that we can close this inspection. And after that, if some reply is still given by the IP, we do consider, and then we release the final inspection report. However, after the release of the final inspection report, so there is no window available as such that further submission or replies can be considered. So once this final inspection report is shared, so as a process, we have to submit all the inspection reports to the committee, and also at times we have to submit all the observations to IBBI as well. We may have to submit the entire set of reports also to IBBI as and when required. And the committee, the triple IPA committee, then review the final inspection report, and then they form an opinion whether the case is appropriate for further EC action or not. And then in case they think so, then we refer the matter for disciplinary action, and then the process start of SCN, etc. And after that, you also know the process is same at IBBI and IPA level. However, in the last 4 years of journey in triple IPI, I have conducted 80 inspections, and almost I have covered 300 cases. And almost 30% cases we have referred for DC action, so the based on the decision of the appropriate authority. And I think in rest of the cases, 70% we have issued advisories as well. So this is in nutshell the entire process of inspection at triple IPA.
Okay. I think I would like to hear from Mr. Madan. Mr. Madan, when such a notice is issued, whether it is a trip and whatever the issues are there, should the RPs take it seriously? Because as you mentioned, 30% cases go to DC.
Yes. I think, yeah.
70% are like a tap on the knuckle. That is all right. But at the end of the day, I believe, because every IP who comes to me with this kind of notices, I always tell them, be serious on this. So
Yes.
what is your advice on this?
Okay. So I think thanks for pointing this out. There is some amount of confusion in the minds of IPs when they receive. So sometimes we have seen people or some of the professionals take it over seriously, like extra, like they then run to a lawyer, etc. I think that much is not needed. And sometimes they are so callous in their approach, they don't even acknowledge or they don't even revert on these messages. So hence we have seen both spectrum, two sides of the spectrum, extra cautious or under cautious. So I would say no need to be extra cautious, and you can manage it on your own rather than at this stage, at inspection stage, no need to take external professional support or legal support. That may or may not be needed at the end of it when there is a disciplinary action. That also I think one can manage on its own, but yes, if at all. But at inspection stage, one should be confident to answer. But yes, timely answer is important, because if not done, this is treated as a non-cooperation, and hence can go adversely against the profession when the matter is placed before the committee, and the committee can then refer it to the DCA just because of non-cooperation, because we have seen not many but very, very few, one or two cases, non-cooperation have come to the surface, and we had no other option but to refer it to the DC because of non-cooperation. So one has to take it seriously, but not worried. I would say be confident, be timely in terms of the answers, and things should be all right. Thank you.
So I would like to add here, as per my experience, what I have noticed that at times IP, don't provide full information till the final stage of the inspection report even. And at times, because of that, adverse action arises. So my sincere request is that one should not get panicky. They should provide all the information. They try to, answer as many replies they can provide. They can, discuss with the inspection team. And also one more thing, that whenever there is an inspection, then at that time IP wants to take some suggestion, opinion from the inspection team itself or from the inspection authority. So at that point of time, it is not possible. So we always try to, conduct various programs to highlight what are the common issues. We have created document also, which is available on our website. So they can take the guidance from there. So the best part would be that they should reply, they should provide all the information, but in majority of the cases, which I have seen, that they don't provide the information, they try to hide, they don't want to reply. And as a result, maybe the requirement of DC action is not there, but somehow because of that, it turns out to be like that.
Okay, Lina, just one more question on behalf of all IPs. Assuming there are minor non-compliances, because in every case, probably I think you are more experienced with looking at so many inspections, that in every case some minor non-compliances will always occur. I mean, nobody is perfect. 100% perfection is not possible. So, what is the view of the committee or the inspecting team on these minor non-compliances? Of course, I'm not talking about the major ones. I'm talking about minor, like filing a form with, say, 5 days delay or 10 days.
Yes. I think, yes, Lina, you can start and then I'll add.
Yeah, so sir, if broadly what we try to capture, that in the inspection report, we have to highlight each and every aspect, whether it is a minor or a major. But at the time of presenting the facts before the monitoring committee, and when the monitoring committee actually takes the decision, then they try to, figure out whether the compliance or the observation is a procedural in nature or substantial. So then they form their view, and accordingly they consider that whether advisory is required or DC action is required. So not every action will result in DC,
Okay.
but there is a difference in inspection and audit. And at times IPs, they they have the sense that whenever final inspection report is there and some highlights are there, it should be deleted, it should not be there. But inspection is a different process than audit. So at times suggestions are there, so we are bound that we have to highlight those minor issues as well, however may not result in DC action.
Yes, thanks, Lina. Let me add here, answering to what Mr. Makijaji pointed out, very, very important to understand this outcome. As a member of monitoring committee and also as member of disciplinary committee here in IIPI, I can vouch two cases. Let me quote hypothetical cases. In one case, there are only minor infractions, minor lapses, minor delays. Minor, I'm saying delays, but minor. Major delays are like, suppose a 1 year delay, 9 months delay, that is called major. But few days, few weeks, that is minor. If there are only minor delays in a case, so 99.99% chance is that it is subjected to advisory, only cautionary statements from the committee, nothing else. But assuming another case where there are substantive lapses, like some major lapses, not doing the process in the right spirit, etc. So say I'm saying professional misconduct, along with certain minor lapses. In that case, since minor are incidental to the major, so that will also get referred to the DC along with the major. But on its own, ipso facto, the purely minor lapses will not really lead to anything except some caution, some advisory. So that is, I hope, Makhijaji, are able to answer.
Absolutely, because you see, if you are picking up, say, 2 cases, and in both the cases, similar kind of non-compliances are there, then one can obviously say that the IP is not, you see, looking into it in a careful way.
Right.
Depends upon all facts and circumstances.
Correct.
I think your views have been excellent, and I think all IPs here must have been benefited. There are 2 hands which are raised. Bharti, you can just take them.
Yes, sir. Sandeep ji, if you can ask your question, please.
Yeah, good evening. Madam, my question is there a manual or certain document which the IPs can refer to understand the various compliances we are required to make towards IPA for each kind of case like CRP, voluntary liquidation, etc.?
Yes, sir. So we have a document on our website, but where we need to update the liquidation and voluntary liquidation. So what we'll do is that we'll update that document and we'll circulate also, and we'll upload on the website of Triple IPA as well.
Lina, you can also highlight the common issues document, which anyway prescribes many things.
Yeah. So there is a common issue guidance on the common issues, which is purely a document based on the experience or the kind of issues which we have come across on the inspections which we have conducted. So this document is again available on our website, and where we have not only highlighted the issues, but also we have suggested the guidance on that, and how the committee may consider those issues as substantive or procedural. So that kind of guidance also is available in that document.
Okay. Those would be for IBBI related compliances, right?
Yeah, so the document which I'm talking,
all
it
compliances.
will be all, not related to triple IPA only.
It will help if we have a document for IPA compliances, because even for voluntary liquidation, I was wondering what compliances needs to be done, and also dropped a mail to IPA but couldn't get any response for that.
Sir, as far as voluntary liquidation is concerned, there is no compliance on triple IPA website. It is only IBBI where you need to comply with the forms, except one master data utility where you need to put your assignment details, and also you have to update the status of the assignment as you go along with that assignments.
One quick question, ma'am. For 4 hours of CPR session that we attend, why is that we get only 3 hours of credit and not 4?
So it is as per the guidelines of IBBI on CPR.
Yes, I think guidelines suggest a full day program and a half day. A half day is considered 4 hours. Full day up to 4 hours is half day, and then 6 hours program is full day. And if it is 4 hours, then 2 hours CP credit is available against 6 hours. Correct me, I think 4 hours is available, right? And if it is a 2-hour program webinar, then 1 hour is available. So guidelines are prescribed. So you have a query that why can't it be equivalent to the number of hour delivery?
Yes, sir, because we already have so many CP requirements being done, as different professions are being practiced by individuals. So there is a need for it to be simplified, made lenient.
All I can say, simplification point taken. There are many confusion around interpretation. And one interesting outcome of that guideline I like to share, although in a lighter way, that IPAs are allowed or required to give the credit of the CPRs by our members against the programs conducted by many other bodies. Many other means who do not have even reference to us, who do not have even association with us, say some university which we haven't even heard of, etc., etc. Whereas many professional bodies, let's take an example of Chartered Accountant Institute. For Chartered Accountant, they, under their guidelines, CP credit can only be given by ICI and nobody else. So here, a whole lot of difference. We are anyway encouraging or requesting IBBI to reshape the guidelines and simplify it. Of course, your point we have taken note and we'd like to pursue. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. There is one more hand raised. Could the person unmute and ask, please?
Madam, I'm Ravi Shankar. See, there I have a small clarification regarding the expenses and incomes that we have to declare in this IBBA portal or in the IPA portal. Should we do it on accrual basis or on a cash basis? Because what we were trying to do is that if I do it on accrual basis, I have to pay fees to IBBA based on the payments made to consultants or my own income. But many times, no, we are not able to pay them actually. And but if I don't declare, is it a non-compliance? So many times I do something, but then what I feel whenever I'm doing it, I'm not comfortable with whatever I'm doing. So what is the correct position? And if it is an accrual basis, how do I avoid paying this percentages payable to IBA because I don't have cash anyway in those many cases?
So are you talking about the appointment professionals made during the
Yes,
CII?
yes, appointment of
So it
professional
is, yeah,
advocates
it is
fees,
based,
but we are not
it
able
is
to pay.
on, so it is on cash basis. It is not on accrual basis. So
All
as
the
and when you make the
ARP's
payment.
income and ARP income and expenses both are in cash basis only, no?
No, sir, I'm talking about the appointment of professional. If you are making the payment to the professional, at that time you need to pay the fees to IBBI. And I think there is another question from your side that the fees which an IP is accruing for his income in by the assignment under IBC you're talking.
Right, that's also true.
Sir, that is on accrual basis. I think the form regulations are quite clear on that, and rather what I suggest personally is that whatever you are disclosing in your income tax, at least it should match that. But regulation it talks about on accrual basis.
For income tax, most of us, I'm sure, sir, many of us are doing cash basis only because in IBC cases, when the income comes, most of the times we don't get any income also. So that's, I
But
don't know.
IBBI, sir, is quite clear on that, that once the fees is ratified, so it is considered
Due.
as accrued. And also, if you go to the regulations and particularly that Form E, so it is clearly mentioned it is on accrual basis.
Now, what is the general practice, Mr. Madan, sir? How are others doing? Or Mr. Makija, sir, if you can.
Lina, what is your understanding on the practice that you have come across in your inspection? Mostly, is it cash or
Accrual,
accrual?
sir,
It
the
is accrual.
fees which an IP is in
Hmm.
earning
Earning.
are based on the accrual basis only. However, the appointment of professional, it is on cash basis.
Yes, but I think I couldn't get your name. So I think we are.
Ravi Shankar. I'm Ravi Shankar Devarkonda.
Yes, Mr. Shankar, I think you raised a very, very sticking point. The practicality of the matter is that you do not get your payments released in time from the COC. Hence, you are not able to earn. Hence, you are not able to pay. And if you are required to pay fee, then it is a bit unfair. I think point is valid.
So we have highlighted to IBBI
We have
this
anyway
point
highlighted, but
also.
since it has come after a long time, we will make it a point to thrash it out again to IBPI. Thank you.
Sure, sir. Sure, sure.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much, Madan sir. Any more questions?
Dr. Makhija, I would like to take liberty because I just wanted to clarify one major issues in CIP compliance. I think through this window, I can explain that what is required to be done. Because in CIP 7, lot many non-compliances are coming across and lot of huge penalties are also being paid by the IPs. So IPs are getting, worried that why these compliances are there and how to do it. So let me just give you a brief on that. That CIP 7 form is a form which talks about the model timelines. So there are CIP 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. But as the sequence is 1 to 8 doesn't mean that it is by sequence you need to file. So every form CIP 1 is on the publication of public announcement. It is to be filed. Until the time you don't make any public announcement within 3 days from the date of the order of the adjudicating authority. It is 3 days which is mandated in the model timelines and in the IBC that IP has to make the public announcement. However, in many cases, the order is received at a later date. But CIP 7 talks about the model timelines in case you don't publish public announcement within 3 days from the date of the order, then you have to fill CIP 7. And the moment you comply or issued public announcement, then in that case, you have to fill CIP 1 form. Similarly, whenever there is a non-appointment of RP within 30 days, and then the IP has not issued the IM from 92 days from the issue of the public announcement, and RFRP from the 10 days from the issuance of the IM, and the entire CIP process is not completed within 180 days. All these timelines has to be calculated from 180 days, and in CIP form, multiple events you can file with multiple delay in the timelines. However, if you have not submitted any or if you have not issued, let's take an example, if information memorandum, then till the time you issue that information memorandum, you keep on filing CIP 7, stating that you have not issued information memorandum within the timelines. And in the meantime, if the assignment is going beyond 180 days, then simultaneously you have to fill all the events which are not occurred or which you have not achieved as per the model timelines till the time you actually gets over with that timeline. So suppose IM is released on, let's take an example, on 115th day, then you stop filing or stop mentioning that you have not issued the IM, and in that place CIP 7 you have to issue CIP 3, which says that within 7 days from the date of issuance of the IM, you have to file CIP 7. So this is how CIP 7 form is linked with CIP 1, 2, 5, and also CIP 6 form, which is an event based. You have to fill that form also. Some are based on the application, some are based on the order, and regulations are quite clear on that. CIP 8 form, which is a PUFE related form, which is sacrosanct insolvency commencement date within 140 days you have to file, even where cases where stay is there from any of the court. So this CIP 8 form does not capture the exclusion, does not capture any kind of extension. So even in cases where you don't form or you have not formed any opinion of PUFE transaction, then also you have to file this. And later on, whenever there is a change in the incidence or there's a change in the stance, then in that case, you can file CIP 6 form as well. So lot many CIP 7 forms which we have seen that IPs they are filing and calculating the insolvency commencement date starts from the date of the receipt of the order. So which is a wrong practice. The form has to be filled from the insolvency commencement date. So there are genuine cases in which the IP can prove with the documents that genuinely he received the order at a very later date, and there they can approach IBBI, and IBBI with stating the entire reasoning with substantive documents also that this is a genuine case where he has received the order very late, and that is why public announcement is late, and CIP 7 form is filed with the penalty, and in those cases IBBI do consider refunding that penalty as well. So this is what we have experienced in the entire AFA compliance. So
Madam,
with
can
that,
I
yeah.
ask you one thing? The CRP 7 window now opens on different date every time.
Yes,
There
ma'am.
is no fixed date. Because of that, we end up paying penalty always, because like resolution plan is filed. Now till it is approved, we have to file it.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, if at the end of the month we go on filing, it says, no, this is not the date, you have to file between so and so date.
Yeah, every
So
30
that
days.
is a problem. If some date can be fixed, like 1st to 10th
Yeah,
of the
that is what is happening now. I think very soon the notification is gonna be out so it will be, I think, first 10 days. So that
Yes,
change is happening.
and
That change is happening.
yeah, and the CIP 7 form is not there in the
New
proposed scheme
form.
of CP forms, so that is a good news. And one more thing, like IP 1 form, which is a pre-consent form, which is applicable invariably in all kind of assignments. So IP 1 form is equally applicable for PG to CG assignments as well. So there also we have come across many
Non-compliance. Yeah.
non-compliances, and IP has to pay huge penalties for that.
Madam, one small request, madam. In the CRP 3 form, if you see that, though IM has to be issued within 95 days, Okay, but the CRP3 form is still saying 52 days only. 52 days or 51 days. I think that is an old number,
Yes, sir.
but
Yes,
that is
this
still provided.
yes, sir. We
That
have
is
highlighted this to IBBI as well, but IBBI is also in the process of implementing or rolling out the new forms. So that is why I think they are
in fact,
taking time.
I write a mail to IBA also, of course. As you said, if they are considering it, then it's very good.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Thank you, Leena ma'am. Thank you so much for that insight on the CRP7, which
Madam,
was much
one more
required.
question.
Sir, I think we are going out of our time,
Madam,
and
one
I would request the IPNet members to take another session for this, because I think CIRP completely needs to be discussed, and we have not touched base upon the CIRP forms at all.
And
it's
also
a
inspection.
yeah, it's a big it is a very big chapter in itself. So I thank you, Leena ma'am, to answer so many questions and putting so much light on at least the CIRP7, which was much needed.
Thanks, Bharti. Thank you so much. I would like to thank our wonderful women viewer, that is the speaker of the day, Leena ma'am, and moderator Bharti. Leena ma'am, we truly appreciate that you have taken time out to share your enriched knowledge with us. Would request our president of IPNet, Dr. Ashish Pandya sir, to kindly present a memento to Leena ma'am.
Yeah,
I'll just share.
Definitely my pleasure. Leena, it is coming on the screen, so we'll request you to please accept it. We'll send you the hard copy of this, okay?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for joining us today. And I think you were so patient today. Thank you.
Sir, one more request, sir. The members can join us offline, but with the thing that we won't be able to give them any kind of legal opinion.
Right.
But to the extent we can help them, so they can connect with us offline. So they are most welcome.
No, that absolutely. I mean, if they have any procedural question, procedural query, that may be answered. But if you are asking about any legal support, definitely, I believe that IIIPI will not be able to do that. Okay. So thank you so much. Yes, for this clarification.
And thank you so much, Bharti, for coordinating and moderating this wonderful session. I would request Ashish sir to please also present a memento to.
Yes,
it was my pleasure, sir. It was my pleasure.
Bharti, I think you have been wonderful. You have wonderfully moderated it. I think here it is. Please accept it on behalf of IPNet. You're also part of IPNet in any case.
Thank you very, very much, sir. Thank you. The pleasure was mine.
With this, I would like to now call upon IPNet South, I think Suhasini ma'am, to kindly announce the next webinar. Ma'am, you're on mute.
Thank you, Namrata, and thank you for IPNet. We invite you to a very interesting session on next week. The challenges under compliance certificates under IBC, and I will request all of you to kindly participate. Thank you.
Ma'am, we'd love to participate, but please give us some CP hours for participating. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, the point is well taken, but you can see, sir, we have been conducting almost around every week, and look at our participation. So wherever the knowledge and the quality of the program is there, I think we should not be looking for the CP hours. Of course, we are making our efforts at our end also. Okay, great. Thank you, Suhasini ji.
Thank you so much. Best wishes to you. We would like to thank the IP fraternity for giving us the opportunity, and a heartfelt thank you to all participants for joining us today. With this, I would like to invite Mr. Parag Singhal to propose a formal vote of thanks.
Thank you, Namrata. Good evening, everyone. I take pride in extending this formal vote of thanks. First and foremost, I would like to extend my heartful gratitude to keynote speaker of the day, Shri Rahul Madan sir, for his, as usual, wonderful address. Sir, your address has thrown light on the issues and concerns existing in the IBC ecosystem and the kind of positive impact which is being made by IIIP ICI through its efforts under your able guidance, sir. The software IPA, as you mentioned, I believe is certainly going to be a very important pie for all the IPs, and future, I'm sure, is indeed bright. Our profound thanks to our wonderful speaker on the topic, Ms. Leena Agrawal. I want to take a moment to truly appreciate the insights you shared with us today. You have enriched this discussion in ways that will undoubtedly guide us in our work. The depth of knowledge and wisdom you brought to this session is invaluable. I once again thank both the speakers for sparing time on holiday and for their dedication to the IBC ecosystem. Friends, I'll be lacking in my duty if I don't extend sincere thanks to our dear President, Mr. Ashish Makhija, sir. Ashish ji, your unwavering commitment and vision are what make IP platform so special. Your presence and guidance is always so reassuring that we have to think only about our work as IPs and not about the path to be followed. Thank you for being that guiding force and inspiring us to aim higher. A big recognition to transition and our technical support teams. They have they have been working tirelessly behind the scene and are the backbone of events like this. Finally, to each and every one of you present today, you made this event truly special. Your enthusiasm and engagement have elevated today's discussion. Thank you once again to everyone who contributed, participated, and supported this incredible initiative. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for joining. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Mr. Madan. And
Thank you.
Sundar Chaturvedi is also there, so congratulating him once again. I think we can have a final word from him if he's available.
रविंद्र जी अनम्यूट करिए अपने को अनम्यूट करिए सर
Sir, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be a part of IPNet network. And with your vision, we have reached at this level and looking forward to take this IPNet at a next level where all the insolvency professional can get the benefit and keep updating themselves. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. It has been a pleasure. And once again, from the entire IPNet fraternity, heartiest congratulations to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.